Hello there.
And welcome to another Modswell video. I'm your host Maxwell. Today we're going to be taking a look at my top 5 mods of the week, and what a week it's been. We've had many of the same faces making some amazing new works, and even some new modders showing up to give us their interpretation of Tamriel. This game continues to evolve through the hard work of an amazing community, but I've blown smoke for long enough, so let's just get stuck in. In 5th, we have a mod adding 5 new bows to the game. The mod in question is Shortbows. This adds in a new set of weapons to the arsenal that fill an important role for any archer. These shortbows are quick to act with a shorter draw time than even the fastest bows in the game. This is balanced off against their lower damage, but they are certainly the correct option when in a tighter quarters fight for anyone wanting to unleash their inner Legolas. However, you need to be aware that these weapons will also be in the hands of enemies from level 1 and go up in rarity as you level up. The bows are Shortbow, which is the fastest bow in the game. You'll see this appear from level 1. The Hunter's Shortbow, this will appear from level 10. The Valenwood Shortbow, which will be on spawns from level 20. The Blackwood Shortbow, which starts to show up from level 30. And finally, the Magic Shortbow, which appears in the leveled list from level 40 onwards. Each bow can also be crafted under the woodsmithing category at the Forge, from level 1, 20, 40, 60 and 80 respectively. This means that some effort has to go into gaining the extra power, but that itself is worth exploring, as the higher the damage the bow has, the slower its draw time is going to be. What's quite funny with these bows is they will suit different players in different ways. For example, some will love the raw damage of the magic bow and others will enjoy the speed of the basic short bow. I was messing around and used a mod which allowed me to disenchant the Zephyr, so I could actually add that for more speed to the short bow, which did somewhat turn it into a destructive force. However, the range is really lacking, which actually helps rein in their power. The long shots that I could take with any vanilla bow were merely impossible with these. However, I really liked that, as it allowed them to slide into their own niche in the game and almost create their own damage class. They're going to suit any sneaky archer, especially users of poisons, to really amp up what's possible. This mod's going to set you back a fairly reasonable 25.2 megabytes. That's largely due to the fact that they have their own custom assets. They actually really suit the style of real bows, so if you're using that mod, these won't feel out of place at all. Whatever you think about their look though, it's hard to argue their utility, or how they fill a missing slot in the base game. This could really be a hidden gem for the future. Moving on to 4th place. Here I've chosen Regal Paladin armor. This is going to add a full armor set including a shield and a one-handed weapon to the game. The helmet also has 2 variants, one with a faceplate and one without. I'm team faceplate all day, but that's great to have the option to show your face should you want. The intricacies and detailing that runs throughout each of the pieces show a high level of care for the work, with the fur lining on the shoulders being in line with the best that I have ever seen. The armor blends features you'd expect in a general Paladin build, with chunks of heavy armor accented by light clothing elements such as padded leather and a skirt. This is the kind of thing that you'd expect to see in a high quality medieval fantasy RPG, and to get your hands on the Regal Paladin armor, all you'll need is the ebony smithing perk. Once you have that, simply head over to a forge and begin crafting. This mod only has minor flaws to it. First of all, there is no real crafting recipe. Each piece costs a mere 1 ebony ingot. They also lack full images on the set, with each part showing the close face helmet when you select them. But if that's the worst things that you can say about an armor mod, you know a great job's been done. I imagine that this was done to somewhat rein in the cost as well, and as it's only noticeable at the forge or in the inventory, it's really just a small sacrifice to make. When I see armors like these, I instantly begin to think about new builds that I could make, using this as the endgame armor. I'd likely have the full set on and spec into a highly defensive build. Mods like Fire and Forget wards would mesh really well with the ethos of a paladin. Certain perks within Ni's trees that allow for spells to be passed through the sword. Speaking of Ni, Wintersun, Imperius and Andromeda with their extra passive abilities will allow you to mould that design to your own specifications. This is going to be the highest cost mod today though, at 83.5 megabytes. But if you are looking for an end game set, if you enjoy role-playing and love paladins, or if you want your favourite follower fully protected, then this is going to be a great choice to make. Let's move on to my 3rd favourite mod of the week. This time it's going to be Unarmed Animation Replacer. This one isn't going to be for everyone, but it fills a really nice niche. It's designed to suit specifically the beast races and vampires or werebeasts, and as they're so consistently overlooked, I wanted to try this out. You'll instantly notice a lower profile with a wider stance and your hands in a position ready to claw at your enemies. This for me is the nicest part of the mod. It's very fitting to how I want certain builds to look. For example, if Jerry was going to be a werebeast or a vampire lord, then I'd want to see this exact stance whilst he was in his human form. The attacks get covered too, and change light swipes to look like the characters are literally slashing at the enemies with their claws. Whilst the heavy hits have changed less, they also carry this same catty energy with more open palms. The dual heavy attack though, that thing is beautiful. With multiple slashes, it looks like your character is trying to tear their enemies fully apart. It is awesome. Because this covers unarmed combat, there aren't actually too many animations held in this, but what there is going to be pivotal for certain playstyles, and that's great because, as I've already stated, there wasn't much on offer for those builds. But what is irritating about these animations is they were supposed to be in the base game, but they were never unlocked, so we could have had these the entire time. Thank whomever for these authors that come out here and fix Bethesda's mistakes. This mod is going to set you back 423.7 kilobytes, so it barely even takes up any space too. But be aware that they will change all unarmed NPCs. This isn't really something that comes up all that much, but brawls might look a bit weird against certain humans. I'll move on to second, where I've chosen a substill combo mod, and no, it isn't bug and mesh fix bundle, but I will talk about that at a later date as it's going to be seriously helpful to anyone that doesn't want to run USEP. I just want to spend a bit more time with that mod, but I will be talking about it soon. Instead, I've actually selected Common Ground, Wintersun Faith and Interaction Bundle. I think I've mentioned Wintersun in basically every video I've ever made, and for good reason. It's one of the best role-playing mods available to us. Wintersun allows you to pray to a deity and under the correct condition gain extra abilities and passives that are relevant to that faith. It also adds in new scenes to the world in the form of statues and shrines dedicated to these religions. These are good spots to pray at or to change your religion depending on how you want to play your game. Overall, these are great additions because they make the world feel more full and give a deeper understanding to the motives of the people past and present. Alongside Wintersun, we also get priests sow amulets, pray with amulets, priests grant blessings, and temple healers. All of these are pretty self-explanatory and essentially are going to team up with Wintersun to add depth and realism to your chosen religion and others throughout Tamriel. But this mod covers more than just religions. It's designed to make the people feel more alive and real. We get mods like Guard Dialogue Overhaul to make those guards say useful and immersive things instead of just randomly moaning. It also changes your interaction with those guards based off of your rank. Another mod we get in this pack is Unbroken Record, which stops the irritating repetitive nature of merchants. But this is classic substill. We aren't even nearly done here. We get better swimming animations, player head tracking for that extra realism, more tavern idols so you and NPCs can perform more actions inside the inns, couriers delivered to NPCs so you aren't the only person getting correspondence, extended encounters so there's more going on outside of the towns. There is simply so much going on in this mod. The Living World bundle changes the look of the world. This changes the feel of it, how the NPCs act, and it really makes a huge difference. But it's better than just that, because it changes how you can approach the game world too. However, amazing mods like this come at a price, and this time it's 61.1 megabytes. But honestly, that's totally worth the cost. Especially when you consider that Wintersun alone costs 67.2 megabytes, which makes this mod basically the TARDIS of mods. There is more space on the inside. Terrible joke, so let's just move on to my favourite mod of the week. Brackamakar has been back at it again, this time porting a package of weapon textures known as Weapon Animations All-in-One. But this is so much more than a mere retexture mod. No shade to textures at all, but this is doing something we thought impossible on console for so long, creating fully animated weapons. This treatment hasn't been given to every unique weapon. As of right now, it covers the Staff of Magnus, the Skull of Corruption, Mirak's Sword, the Dawnbreaker, Voldenrung, the Nightingale Bow, Chillrend and the Mace of Molag Bal. The animations are totally dependent on the weapons, and some, for example, only really include readying animations, such as the Nightingale Bow, which while stowed is curled up tight on the back, but when you draw it, it springs into action. Other weapons have animations that happen whilst in hand, such as Chillrend, which constantly glows with ice and spits off tiny sparks as it's used. And other weapons, like Dawnbreaker, are fully animated and change with every motion, or even whilst just stood still. But the story of this mod is the class that comes along with it. Each weapon has been lovingly edited with actual thought about what should happen with them. I'll use the Dawnbreaker as an example again. As you draw this sword, the hilt opens and is replaced by a sun-like sigil. When you swing it, the blade glows and the sigil moves to surround it, which makes it look as if it's being used against the enemy. I find myself astounded by the creativity of these weapons, and that we can have them on console is fantastic. In my opinion, this is the best weapon replacer pack I've seen. Currently, I'm pairing them with Reliquary of Myth, and whilst I've never been a huge fan of unique weapons, much like legendary Pokemon, I find them unfair on everyone else. But now I'm thinking, screw everyone else, these are too good to not use, and the setup as a whole is making them actually feel unique. They feel more powerful, and of course, look beautiful. I'd have thought without a script extender we wouldn't get these, however Bracca has proven me wrong, and is currently showing us what is possible with a little creativity, bringing us more and more mods that I didn't think we'd ever get, and in classic Bracca style, the cost is always impressive. In this case 16.7 megabytes, which for 8 new feeling weapons that are beyond anything else we've experienced, that's just outstanding. I'm hoping beyond hope to see this bundle grow over time to incorporate more and more weapons, and potentially even armor versions that's similar, because once you've been spoiled with something this good, you start to hope for so much more. But as it stands, you can't be unhappy with this pack. I highly recommend this one. But on that I am going to call it. To talk modding, to get help with load orders, or just to have a nice time with some excellent people, come and join the Discord server. You'll find a link to that as well as all the mods mentioned today in the description below. And if this has helped, I would as always appreciate those likes, comments, and of course subscriptions. They help push my work out further with YouTube's algorithm, and they also let me know that you want more content like this. But either way, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.